getting in shape and getting lean and getting muscular. In order to do that, I learned a lot of skills.
So much of our culture revolves around instant gratification, where we often can get away with avoiding most challenges.
You're developing the skill of working through something hard and persevering.
If a person is unhappy with being overweight, then that's something that's kind of always like going to be picking away at you.
When someone embraces it and they go all in with it, you can see not just their physique or their strength get better, their life gets better.
What's going on, everyone? I've got to say, I am pretty darn excited. This is the very first episode of a brand new fitness podcast hosted by my good friend Zach and myself. Zach and I often find ourselves having long conversations about all sorts of fitness related topics and how it all ties into different elements and aspects of life and philosophy. So we thought, hey, why not go ahead and record some of our conversations and share them here with you? Our goal is that by sharing our conversations, that it will give you something to potentially ruminate on, maybe learn from, and to inspire you to continue working towards your fitness goals. So without further ado, let's dive into our very first pilot episode of the Fitness is the Foundation podcast. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's get it.
Okay. So, Zach, how do you, from your experience, how do you think that being lean, strong, muscular, and healthy positively impacts different aspects of your life? And which aspects of your life feel positively impacted?
Yeah, I think everything. Especially having a transformation of kind of being average, out of shape, back into shape. I've seen a complete 360. I think it's all aspects of my life. I think the biggest thing for me is how it makes me feel like about myself, feeling more confident, and also other people, kind of how they view me and respecting me. I think that's been the biggest shift. Is I'm not self-conscious anymore. I had a lot of self-conscious. I don't give it my best. I don't look my best. I don't feel my best. Lethargic. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's kind of like untangible though. But I mean, what about you?
Pretty similar. So when I first started lifting, I was pretty young. I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I would use my uncle's home gym kind of across the street from where I was living. And the reason I started lifting, I think, even though the exact reason is actually pretty hard to articulate for me, it's kind of tough to be able to really label and identify, at least for me, what my reason for starting lifting was.
Mhm.
But I think that was part of the reason was I was feeling a little bit self-conscious. Even at 12, 13 years old, I was feeling a little bit self-conscious about being I wasn't super overweight or like terribly out of shape, but I had a little bit of extra body fat.
Mhm.
And even at that young age, I felt like I was I was a little bit self-conscious about my appearance. And that was probably one of the main drivers initially was to replace that feeling with some confidence. So,
Yeah, yeah, and I think one thing I learned. I mean, since you started lifting a little bit earlier than me, I don't know if you developed this earlier, but I think that was the overall big thing. But what I learned was getting in shape and getting lean and getting muscular. Um, in order to do that, I learned a lot of skills. Learned like the delayed gratification, how to work hard, um, how to overcome tough things, balance like a work life balance. So I think that is, it's not necessarily like how the muscle on me is now positively affecting my life in a sense, but the journey that went on and how I can apply those same skills I've learned, um, and attack other things. So I think that's kind of like the secondary. Like the big thing is I'm now comfortable with myself. Um, and then, taking those skills I learned from there to kind of apply everywhere else. And I think obviously we can probably get into all of the other actual physical benefits of things, but I think that's something, the intangible things I learned is the skill of sticking to a schedule, doing hard things, getting up even you don't want to, and then applying that to all other aspects of your life. I don't know if you've experienced the same.
Yeah, definitely. So like developing things like discipline and work
Mhm.
ethic and like you noted, working towards something for a long time, basically. Some working towards something that's uncomfortable and pretty difficult because let's face it, lifting weights is pretty tough, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Same
Especially
thing.
squats.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, it's been the same thing with me.
Mhm.
Is I think there if you look at the nature of lifting weights, all you're doing, and this is a little bit of an oversimplification, but all you're doing is the same things over and over and over again, right? So
Mhm.
like bicep curls, you do a set of 12, 15, 20 reps, maybe less than that. It's the same movement, same repetition over and over and over again. And then you go to you do that one day, the next day you do something similar, the next day you do something similar. So it's like you just get tons of practice doing very repetitive things and just doing so with the intention of getting a little bit stronger
Yeah.
at it from one session to the next. So it's very repetitive, but
Mhm.
it's an opportunity to practice getting really good at a single skill set in small incremental steps. I think that's something that's I mean, it's helped with the lifting itself, of course, because that's
Yeah.
the nature of lifting, but I think that's something that can help with everything else outside of the gym. So, as for me, as a as a physique coach,
Mhm.
as an online physique coach, and like initially starting a business from scratch, a lot of the skill set that I learned from lifting weights.
Yeah.
So the repetition doing the same things over and over
Mhm.
and over again applies directly to things like starting a coaching company,
Yeah.
more or
But
less.
so that consistency, I guess, aspect of it. Now, I don't know, as you were saying that, I was thinking, it's interesting you say that because there's a lot of things that we have to do daily, repetitively, probably working on the business, everything else. But I don't know about you. For me, though, the going to the gym and doing the same thing does not get old. There's a lot of things that I'm doing daily that you just kind of like look back and you're like, man, this is a grind. Well, I don't know what it is. You're talking about bicep curls and doing 12 reps every 2 times a week or whatever. But man, when I can do 13 reps or when I can go up 5 pounds, it's like it's so weird. It's something like I can't imagine going in at work and just like working a spreadsheet every day, or if the people that are doing physical labor out there, like building fences and fence posts all day, like every day. But for some reason, I can go to the gym and do that same thing every day. And so I don't know. It's like, but you see the progress because of it, and it just proves that that consistency does work in all aspects. It's just for some reason the endorphins you get or the pump, maybe you could see that the positive results of it. But I just thought it was really funny as you're saying that every day because I'm like, yeah, when I don't go to the gym, I feel like not good. But
Well, you know
yeah.
what's interesting about that is you're absolutely right. It's like, or at least I should say, I feel the same way. So it's like we go and we do the same things or close to the same things quite frequently between training sessions. So bicep curls a couple times a week, it's the same movement. But for whatever reason, I feel the same way. Like I'm usually at least I'll say I'm usually pretty excited about it. Not always excited about it, but it's interesting because yeah, it is a very repetitive activity. So
Mhm.
I wonder where that enjoyment comes from or where the satisfaction comes from. And I think it's at least for me, it's and I think this is what you're saying is it's from making little bits of progress. So like you do 12 reps one session, then you do 13 reps the next session. So it's even though it's the
Mhm.
same movement, it's quite repetitive. It's really satisfying, I feel, to see those small incremental steps of progress from one session to the next. Is that kind of what
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah, I think so. I think you see the progress, but you also feel the progress. And I was thinking about that as you're saying, like, why can't we apply that to other aspects of our life? That same thing, or why do some people have a hard time with that? Like, why don't they get that click at the gym? Is it because they're not seeing the results right away, or is it they're not being consistent enough. They're like that one extra day and they would feel it. Um, but I also think, overall people like, I hear about this about running, but I think it's kind of the same with lifting as well. Like, you never feel awful after a workout or after a run or whatever. Like, you start your day off, you get your workout done, and then at least you feel good about yourself. No matter what happens, the rest of the day could be crap, but you got a hard thing done in the morning, an easy win in a sense. Check that box. But I think everyone deep down knows like how important fitness is and how like your body is like asking for it. Sometimes they just don't need it. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say, but like you get a pump, you go to a workout, you get a run in, you get a walk, whatever you're doing to be active, deep down, everyone knows this is right. This feels right. Maybe that's why that feels good. Whereas I would argue that sometimes sitting behind a computer and working on spreadsheets doesn't necessarily feel right. That's not like what we're supposed to be doing as human beings. Like we're supposed to be active. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there does seem to be, at least from my observations, like there's a spectrum of what different people find or don't find interesting at the gym or enjoyable at the gym. So, like you and I, we really like lifting, but some people, the moment they experience discomfort in the gym, it's like, oh, that's icky. Like I want to stop right away.
Yeah.
Right. But it's interesting, right? So I think that for a lot of us, we can find enjoyment from progressing and like
Mhm.
getting from one end of a hard set to the other, and to see the small changes that incrementally happen over long periods of time in the mirror. But
Yeah.
I think it's really tough for other people that are immediately turned off by the discomfort of lifting weights. That's a thing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's
Well, I think
definitely
that,
a wide variety.
yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to the original question of like, how does it positively impact us? Um, it teaches us to overcome those hard things. And so learning those skills, getting those easy wins, and then when you do have a harder issue later in life, a work, something that goes really bad at work, or you have a bad financial issue, or whatever. Like I feel like you're developing the skill of working through something hard and persevering. I'm a big proponent of sports. I don't know if you played a lot of sports growing up, but like I wrestled, and I think it's one of the better sports as like a kid because it's very physical. When you get beat, you're getting beat physically. Um, so you're just kind of learning how to overcome those hard things, and then you can apply those to the other aspects of life. I think to make it a well-rounded, full circle, and how like fitness will have other positive effects. Um, and it's like this circle because you need those as well then to want give you the time and resources to like go to the gym, right? Because like there's people that are grinding all the time, don't necessarily have the money to get a gym membership or the time. They're working 16 hours, got kids at home. Like it's like this opposite like effect that help each other, which I thought interesting.
Yeah. No, I like the tie-in with the wrestling and the sports.
Mhm.
It's like it's an even for those that don't love the feeling of lifting, it's like it's an opportunity, it's a challenge that you have the opportunity to overcome, which is interesting nowadays too, right? Because it's 2025
Mhm.
and so much of our culture revolves around instant gratification, where we often can get away with avoiding most challenges and getting things really quickly. So, like,
Mhm.
you can order anything online, you can order food online, you don't have to get your groceries. And I mean, even working nowadays, like, we're not like working out in the fields and that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
mean, there are people that definitely do, but there's a larger chunk of the population that can afford to just sit and work at a
Yeah.
desk. I mean, I'm one of those people, right? So, but that's like, we don't have to go and take those extra steps of being like of experiencing hard physical labor. So we don't have to do that. So, there's tons of layers in our culture nowadays, that revolve around
Mhm.
instant gratification, and it's like fitness and going to the gym and training hard, even though it's uncomfortable and it's a big turnoff for a lot of people. Again, lots of us love it. You and I love it.
Mhm.
But it's like your sports analogy. It's a challenge that we can overcome, and that's something that we might not otherwise have the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could help with everything. If you get practice facing a challenge and
Mhm.
overcoming it, then that could carry over to like I mean, it's helped me. I'll speak for myself. It's
Yeah.
helped me in I guess the best thing that I can bring up is starting a like a fitness working with people as a fitness coach online. It's helped
Yeah.
me with that because that was initially and still is. It's like it's a huge challenge. So
Mhm.
practicing the challenge of the gym, I think, has helped with the challenge of like my career.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I love the sports one because it's kind of I would say like an easier analogy to kind of like, visualize and understand. But it's just crazy. I feel like every generation probably says the last gener, compares against the last generation. But yeah, it seems like, the technology, the social media, the internet, and then tied in with just the perception I have is the the younger population don't like find satisfaction in overcoming tough things. It's like they just want the easy stuff. They want it now. Whereas, I'm sure how we were raised, like we had to earn like through hard work, have a job, do something like the first. I mean, I remember the minute I got a job, my parents didn't buy anything after that. It was like, oh, you want new shoes? Like you have a job, like you pay for them yourself. And so just like learning these hard things and overcoming it. And for me, at least doing sports as a kid growing up, learning that like the physical aspect had to play, and the harder you worked on your fitness, your running, and then the skill of whatever sport it was, had a direct impact on how you performed and succeeded and things like that. So I think it taught some mental toughness, which is something I think I'm worried about. When you see it, because it's easy just to give up, and I'm wondering if kind of going back to it, like why people, I think most people understand that being in shape is good for them, right? Like it's like kind of known, but it's interesting to figure out why like they don't follow through, or why they know that but they don't act upon it. I don't necessarily think it's they don't have that like mental toughness. Maybe they do, but it'd be interesting to see like the different reasons why they can't push over that hump, can't stay consistent enough. They say they need to get in shape. This has been something in my experience since I've done this transformation, gotten really good shape. People just can't help but talk and like almost deflect their own feelings onto me. Like they see, so, in the last 2 years, dropped 40 pounds, transformed, and they'll just talk to me and say, "Oh, I need to go to the gym. I need to lose weight." You know, "Oh, Zach, it's so cool what you've been able to do," but they won't do it. It's so interesting. I don't know your thoughts. I kind of said a lot there, but you know,
I think that human beings, our default is to do the easier thing or
mm-hmm,
to get the to seek out the thing that feels good immediately rather than thinking ahead at what's going to benefit you in the future. So for example, working out is really uncomfortable,
mm-hmm,
even though like you noted most people probably suspect that it's good for them to do, and like being at a healthy body fat percentage, being strong, being mobile, being muscular is something that most people want. The act of lifting weights and picking healthy meals to eat is hard in the moment. The easier thing to do is to not go to the gym. It's to sleep in, get an extra hour of sleep so you can stay up later watching Netflix or whatever, playing games
mm-hmm.
or it could be something else. But like that's the easier thing to do is like skip the gym session. You avoid the discomfort, you save time, you
Yeah.
can do other things. And then same thing with the food. To get lean and to
Mm-hmm.
stay lean, that means that we need to watch what we're eating.
Yes.
The easier thing to do is to not cook for yourself, to order takeout, have food
Hmm.
delivered right to your door, which is ties into the whole instant gratification thing. Have food delivered to your door. Nowadays, food tastes really, really good. Hyper palatable, very high calorie dense, super easy to order that stuff,
Hmm.
or to like make something at home that's super, super tasty, but not calorically wise, I suppose, for like fat loss products. So it's long story short is I think it's the easier thing to do at the end of
Yeah.
the day is to not lift weights, to skip sessions, and to eat in a way that's not conducive to being lean and
Yeah.
building muscle.
Well, and I mean, I think it's interesting because we're all humans, and I have that right now. My current training plan, um, I'm lifting 4 days a week, and then I'm doing kind of like a CrossFit hit workout 3 days a week, and I'm still trying to run at some points, but I don't know when. And if I don't, like, there's days where I get home and I still have to get a run in, and I don't. Right? I fail in a sense in that because it's the easy thing to do. The hard thing would be 8 o'clock. Let me go for a run, and then go to bed right after, or whatever. Like so, it is that natural instinct. And not that this needs to be brought up now, but I think you also need to listen to your body. But I think that's a more of an advanced, intermediate, advanced thing. I think most people probably just need to get started, and then as they start training more, realizing when they need to throttle back and throttle in and turn it up. But I don't. I think also it's kind of like a cop out for a lot of people. They use that, and I've been watching a lot of the NBA playoffs lately, and it's all of them are talking about, are you hurt or are you injured, and like the difference between that, and not to the same extent for this, but just in general, like, is it discomfort or are you hurt? Is it pain of you working through something you haven't done before, or are you actually injured? And knowing that, and being able to push through that. So, um, yeah, no, I think that's awesome. One thing you mentioned too with the food, and it kind of goes into, like I brought up early, talking about the holistic approach of it, and it's not always seen right away. It's almost like these unseen things that happen later on. But we were talking about how much food we could eat, tasty foods, and order in, and I think that's super expensive. Like when you look at someone who spends like on Uber Eats or whatever it is, and it's delivering to you, you're paying all these fees, you're eating food that's probably not healthy. It's food that's not necessarily filling you up, so you're going to eat more. And I guarantee you, look at how much you're spending for the week. You could easily go to the supermarket and buy some Whole Foods, and you're going to spend way less money. And so I think it helps people's financial, like, life. Even like you could justify a gym membership. So many gyms, Planet Fitness, all these things, $10 a month. That is cheaper than what you would be spending on all the different food, that you're eating that's junk food, and then getting a good workout in. You can get a really good workout in those big box gyms. Um, and like, you're gonna probably be in better shape overall, so you're gonna have less health issues, most likely, if you're doing strength training. I think I heard something, you probably know the study, but like there's something where strength training is like the number one thing you need to be doing, especially as you get older, preventing, falls and all this other stuff. So it's definitely going to make you positively impact as you get older. You want to play with your kids, or if you're a grandparent and you have grandkids, you want to be able to pick them up, bend down, like just all these things that people don't think about now, but they're going to wish they knew 20 years from now when they're trying to play with their grandkids.
Well, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
that's the whole challenge I think for a lot of us, which is it's easier to pick the easy thing in the moment rather than look ahead at,
Hmm.
what's going to benefit us when we're advanced in age. Strength training now so that we are more mobile and comfortable when we're older. I think that is one of the like you hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head. That's one of the things that a lot of people really do struggle with is and that's like the delayed gratification thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's interesting too. I think you're right that it's often used as an obstacle, maybe as an excuse, but I'll say sometimes people use healthy eating as being expensive as an obstacle to or it is kind of an excuse to
Yeah.
like prepare and eat healthy meals instead of like ordering lots of takeout and going out and like, going to McDonald's or Subway or like
Mhm.
whatever place is closest to your workplace for lunch or dinner on your way back home. It's actually it can be super, super inexpensive to eat
Yeah.
healthy. So like just quick examples, like we can probably all agree that vegetables are healthy. We should probably eat them every day, or fruit if you really don't like
Mhm.
vegetables. You can buy frozen fruit, or frozen vegetables that are less expensive than the quote unquote stuff that you'd find in the fresh produce
Yeah.
section. And also too, like if you're really, really like looking at your budget, there's canned vegetables and canned fruit, which are
Mhm.
like dirt cheap. So there's ways, and same thing with protein. Like protein is probably the most expensive thing that
Mhm.
people can buy, right? But you can go to the grocery store, get to know when the store tends to like do the markdowns, like the
Yeah.
30% off the meat. Just cook it the same day because usually it's like it's about to expire. So like you can just cook it the same day,
Yep.
or that like the next day. Or you can buy frozen meat, which is usually less expensive. Frozen fish, canned fish, so on and so forth. Like
Mhm.
there's inexpensive options. So I think that you're right. Like that's one of the obstacles that gets in the way of people in
Yeah.
front of people from picking options that are more conducive to food options, eating options that are more conducive to fat loss and building muscle and being healthy. The obstacle being it's expensive, but it doesn't have to be expensive. For myself, I'll use myself as an
Yep.
example. I'm going for the stuff that's not super expensive. I'm going for the
Mhm.
frozen veg, frozen fruit. I eat canned tuna every day. It's
Nice.
not super
Nice.
fancy, but
There
it
you
tastes
go.
good to me. Like I make it in
That's that
ways that taste good.
consistency.
Yeah, well, it tastes I make recipes that I think taste really
Yeah.
good. So, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not like that fresh ahi tuna steak that's gonna cost like $30 for,
Yep.
300 grams. But it does the job. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that
and yeah, no, and I learned the same thing in the last prep. Like chicken is so cheap. I can buy so much chicken. It's not that expensive at all. But I think the interesting thing is, we talked earlier about how technology is this negative thing, kind of, but it can be a super positive. And all these healthy foods, like you're talking about these different recipes that you can make really good sweet desserts with like protein, Greek yogurt, some ice. I know there's a lot of ways to make it like actually like ice creamish. But like so there are ways to do it. It's just not easy, right? But it's not that hard either. It takes maybe 5, 10 more extra minutes.
it's the initial learning curve, that
Yes.
stuff, right? So it's like what you mentioned. So like Greek yogurt protein powder, if you want, you can sweeten it with some like 0-calorie sweetener, like Splenda or
Hmm.
something like that. Maybe add some other mix-ins, like some like cocoa powder, whatever. Like it may take you, a little bit of time to figure out what kind of concoction you're going to make, but once
Hmm.
you know it, right? It's
Yeah.
like and that's that example that you use is super fast. It takes no time once you initially
Hmm.
figure it out. What um I don't know about you, but for me, like I have all sorts of these kind of concoctions that I include in my healthy eating routine. I prefer
Yeah.
them. I
Yeah.
honestly prefer that kind of Greek yogurt concoction over
Hmm.
like ice cream, like regular ice cream or
Yeah.
ice cream sandwiches. I prefer it. If I had the option of one versus the other, it would be easy for me to pick the one that's like super high protein, lower
Hmm.
calorie, because it's not only because I know it's going to help me keep building muscle
Yeah.
and stay lean, but also because like it genuinely tastes really good to me.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And especially as I was doing the last bodybuilding prep, those things start to taste even better and better and better. And then when you do eat the other sugary stuff afterwards, it's like, oh, I feel awful. Like your body adapts and changes. But one of the fun things I thought was I I Googled a couple things about how to make it, and then I was like, oh, screw this. I'm just gonna try to figure it out myself. And I'm just mixing random stuff. And that was almost fun within itself. Like, okay, how is this gonna taste today? And I had my wife try it, and she's like, oh, that's awful, right? And like she's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was kind of good, And so I would change up this or this, and I would use like different things. Maybe add a little splash of honey in there, and all of a sudden it tastes good. Like whatever it is.
You're
Um,
like a mad scientist in the kitchen. I can just
yeah.
like envision you like with your like
Oh yeah.
master chef apron
It,
on, just like
the best part is we bought one of those Ninja blenders like 10 years ago. I don't even know. haven't used it at all. I use it every day now. I'm like seriously just taking stuff and just yep, it's good.
That's the secret, is you just have
Yeah,
to figure out what tastes good when you blend it together and you're good to go. Can't
yeah,
and it can't get it doesn't get any more convenient than that. You just, you
yeah.
blend it, you push a button.
Yes. Yeah, my go-to easy one, it's kind of like ice cream. I just put protein, milk and ice and like a protein shake or whatever, and it's like a shake. So almost like a little ice cream shake. So and I use the different protein like cookies and cream or one of those like that tastes really good too. And I think we kind of keep going back to it. At least I do like with the more of like the not the mental aspect of it, I guess. So I know for me, like when I lift in the morning, I feel good, but also when I eat good. So we're talking like number one, I think there's like a whole bunch of studies like your body actually responds better to it, but you feel better about it. Like I know when I do have a cheat meal, or even if I'm not cheating, I just eat like crap for whatever day. Like you can't help it, but you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Oh, I don't feel
So
good.
when
I feel
you
bloated. Yeah.
so when you say feel good, do you mostly mean like you physically feel good or like mentally or both?
I think both. Yeah. So like physically, I learned that I think I mean both styles of training, strength training and endurance, but in the marathon prep, I noticed that a ton when I was training for the marathon, like feeling your body the right way, affecting how you physically feel to be able to perform. Um, but I also beat myself up mentally a ton. I mean, we talked about this last time, like when I would have like a cheat day or I would eat something I shouldn't, then I'm just like beating myself up all day. It's the same thing when I skip the gym for whatever reason. If I don't go to the gym and I was supposed to go to the gym, even if it's for like a quote unquote valid reason, I'm like, oh, I didn't get a workout in today. And I just beat myself up. But I also think that kind of goes back to a skill we have learned to work hard and hold ourselves accountable. And if someone's never learned that, if they don't have that upbringing, they don't have that accountability partner, they don't have something where someone checks them and like in a positive way, obviously you don't want someone, but like I feel like that. So I think for me, the mental aspect of it, almost like the physical aspect is very important, but the mental one can, because you can't see that and people can't see that and they don't know how you're feeling. And like we try to bottle those things up and that just eats at you. And then you lash out at coworkers or your spouse or what, like that just has all these trickling effects. And it could have just been because you binged the night before, drank too much, was hungover, you didn't work out, and now you're late to the meeting, and then you're getting your ass chewed by the boss. Like it's just like all because of not saying that the one thing, but they're compounding. So that was
Yeah.
a lot. Sorry.
Well, that's actually one of my theories as
Mhm.
to how being lean, strong, healthy, and muscular positively impacts everything else is like on this kind of action-based level. So
Mhm.
by eating a meal that's healthy and then feeling good because like from a mental standpoint, you did something that's in alignment with being lean and healthy. So you kind of have it gives you mental peace of mind,
Yeah.
right? So if you have mental peace of mind, then you can focus on everything else that you're doing in the day, like in the office. So you're less likely if there's something weighing down on you, like you're thinking about on like an action level, you're
Mhm.
thinking about, oh shoot, I shouldn't have eaten that thing for lunch. It's not weighing you down, even if it's just a little tiny thing. Like
Mhm.
those little tiny things, like they can add up and like keep poking you, and then that can lead to you not being able to focus on something as much, or you having a more difficult time interacting with coworkers or spouse, family, or whatever. It's like those little
Mhm.
things can mentally weigh down on you, I think. And then on a more macro level, so like let's say a person were to continuously eat meals that lead to becoming overweight. So like if
Mhm.
someone is overweight, for example, then I think that would negatively impact someone's mentality on an even
Oh yeah.
greater degree, where you're feeling the effects of having unwanted body fat, and that's carried around with you everywhere. And maybe it's not
Mhm.
something that you're thinking about all the time or a person would be thinking about all the time, but my theory is like if a person is unhappy with being overweight, then that's something that's kind of always like going to be
Yeah.
picking away at you, something that's even if it's not directly in the forethought of your of your mind, it might be hanging over your head
Hmm.
just enough to keep you from enjoying the things that you're doing with your family or interacting with your partner, your spouse, socializing, that having a good time socializing because it's impacting your confidence levels, or
Yeah.
distracting you from the work that you're doing, so on and so forth. That's what one of my theories is
Hmm.
as to how it can be negatively impactful. Like if you're unhappy with your physique, you can feel the effects of being, let's say, overweight or less muscular than you wish you were, or you're feeling aches and pains from being weaker
Yeah.
than you wish you were, like not as strong. Is that mental shadow, that overhanging
Yeah.
shadow that can I think weighs down on people.
I like that, not like the shadow aspect you're saying, because it's like this thing that's, seen, not always felt all the time, but just always there. And even when it's like sunny out or dark out and you don't necessarily see it, it's still there. Like depending if the light is shined on it. Like I think it's a really good
Something that's always like
yeah.
looming over you, even if it's not like completely apparent, but it's
Hmm.
like, you think about it for a couple seconds and you're like, oh, I wish I wasn't, I
Yeah.
wish I was healthier.
Yep. And I think the interesting thing is like the confidence is huge, probably. Like so many people probably lack confidence because, and I think deep down again, they know, but also how other people interact with you and how other people treat you. Like, um, when you're someone who's in shape, lean, muscular, you just get more respect. Um, People know that you have your priorities aligned in a certain way, at least. You're goal oriented. You're doing the hard things. I used to like not kind of subscribe to that. I would be like, well, like I look at these athletes or these rich, movie stars, and they got these personal trainers and all this resources to make them like the best. They got people delivering food for them, like all this experts. And I used to think, oh, it's so easy for them to be in shape. That was my thought. And then I went through it and I was like, they still have to put the work in. Nothing changes. Yeah, it might be a little bit easier. They might not have to go to a 9 to 5 all day and do it, but like they have other stressors. They probably have paparazzi. They got calls, interviews on set, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, they still made the decision to do those hard things. They could have easily, because they have money or wealth, they could have just continued drinking and eating and having a good time. And so for me, I used to look at that and be like, oh, they don't work hard. And I'm like, no, no. When I start looking at people who are in shape, because I've had to go through that transformation, like I know the hard work that they're putting in every day. Um, and it kind of makes me respect them more. But I think someone who's not in shape and sees someone in shape also respects them. They kind of look up to them and they aspire to be like that. So I think that's huge. I think it's a good point.
Uh,
So
a lean, muscular physique, like someone walks into the room and they're in great shape, no matter who it is. It immediately tells a story, right? It's like
yeah,
everything that you just mentioned. It's like immediate. You get to see immediate evidence that this person has worked hard for something for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And it's like you can build like instant rapport. So like when you're talking
yeah.
about, it's like you kind of like immediately get some level of respect or
Hmm.
admiration or something like that. I think it's exactly like you mentioned, because you give off walking evidence that
Yeah,
you've got some level of discipline, work ethic, um, and that you can follow through with challenges and hard things, and you can stick with it for a long time.
yeah. And I just think the confidence that you have from it um, is just crazy. It's interesting because uh, when I got to my new job here a year ago, well, a year and like at the end of summer, I came in really good shape, ran the marathon, and then did the bodybuilding show. And I just had this new group of students get there, and on day they check in, I have to find a photo of it, but in our service uniform, it's short sleeve and it's super like tight on my biceps, and it looks like awesome. I look jacked, and I could tell like immediately, like they all were like, "Oh crap! Like this dude's in shape. Like he's gonna work us." It also depends on the field you're in, right? I'm in the military. Physical fitness is obviously high up there in our importance and everything. So that is huge. But yeah, gained immediate respect right away. People know that I've been putting in the work. And now, I work out with them 3 days a week. They see me out there. I'm 10 years older than a lot of them and still keeping up or doing better than a lot of them. So yeah, I think it's very interesting what you kind of get when you go somewhere and you're in shape. Um, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah,
It kind of leaves you as like instantly, especially in your shoes, like it immediately makes you into some degree at the very least a role model.
yeah, yeah,
People someone to look up to.
yeah. And I think most people want to be a role model, right? Like they might not outwardly say it, they might be an introvert or something like that, but we're all human. And I think when people look up to you, you feel that certain responsibility. So I think it's cool. It's like this reciprocal thing where you're a role model to them, and then you don't want to let them down, and you want to maintain that, and they're going to try to impress you. And so it's like everyone is helping everyone. It's kind of like that. What's that saying? Like rising tides rise, like lifts all ships or whatever. Totally true. I mean, I call it leader legs. Like we went for a run, and like the leader, I got to run faster. So you just run faster, and they're trying to pass me to show who's who. So, and I think that's just good for everyone's mental health, our physical health. Like it's a healthy, competitive environment where we're all promoting fitness, promoting health, promoting like here where we're at a learning environment where we're like in school. So you get your workout in, your blood's pumping, you're learning more. I think it's just like everything is good when you start off that day like that. So yeah.
How much better do you think How much do you think it would positively impact the world if 100% of people were like at healthy body fat percentage, they had like a healthy amount of muscle and
Oh
like
yeah.
not everyone's going to be super jacked, but like, good foundation of muscle, healthy body fat percentage, um a good foundation of strength.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I think that it wouldn't solve all of the world's problems, but I think
Hmm.
that that would be a good step to solving a lot of
Oh yeah.
problems.
I mean, I don't even think you could. The benefits would be outrageous. I mean, there's some that you wouldn't be able to like quantify, like how people feel and their work ethic, but like you could probably easily figure out, maybe not figure out, but some smart person, like the health aspect of it. And just like the demand on the healthcare system and how many people are taking different prescriptions and pain stuff. Like if you get rid of that and then people are eating healthier and like yeah, just moving more and like less transportation, like there's less like everything um, I think I think everything becomes simpler, and I this is something I've been trying to experiment with my thoughts on like less is more and life is not that serious and like fitness is the foundation. It's kind of what I'm like realizing is the building blocks and there's everything like defaults to that and everything else is just like noise. There's a lot of stuff we put as these important things, but when it comes down to it, there's very few of those very important things. And I've heard this said on a couple different podcasts, books, and stuff like that, where it's like, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but if you offer someone like a millionaire, like $1 million the next day or to live for one more day, what would they take? Like their health. They would take their health. So if you put it that way, that is the most important thing your fitness, your health, more than your money, your wealth, your status, all this other stuff. Um,
I like
yeah,
that a lot.
yeah,
Fitness is the foundation.
yep, yeah.
Well,
And
some of those things too, it's like you mentioned, so people wouldn't need to go and get medications as often, and that goes on so many different levels.
mhm,
Like, so there's like blood pressure medication, so
yeah.
something to help with something that usually comes from being overweight. But then also like people needing medication for things like their mental health, anxiety,
Mhm,
and depression. I think that so like going back to your thing, like fitness is the foundation. I think that maybe that isn't the root cause for a lot of people's mental health struggles, but I think
mhm,
that like if you take a person that's unhappy with being overweight, for example, that could be something that is contributing. It's negatively impacting the state of their mental health, and that might be one step in the right direction to
yeah,
helping them in that situation.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
fitness
yeah.
is fit. fitness is the foundation. Plus, it's like how you can enjoy things, right? So it's um, like if most people wouldn't mind being wealthy, right?
Hmm.
Having lots of money. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, just like you mentioned, it's like if a millionaire is faced with the decision of could I, or if a person's faced with a decision, could I have a million more dollars or have an extra day to my life? It's like most people at the end of the day would pick a healthy day.
Yep.
I think that's true where it's like um, if you're a multimillionaire or you just, you have a lot of wealth, I think it
Mhm.
means a lot less
Yeah.
to be wealthy but to not
Not
be healthy.
mobile. Yeah.
'Cause
Yep.
it's that thing, like, that your health is weighing down on you. It's like the shadow looming over you where it's taking away from everything else that you otherwise could be enjoying more of. So, I think that goes hand in hand with your, um, fitness is the foundation. If your health is in a good place, you're fit, then you can actually focus on
Hmm.
the things that you wanna focus on. Your mental health will probably
Yeah.
better, and, you can enjoy whatever you want to be enjoying in life more, be there for the people you wanna be there for without, again, the shadow kind of looming over your head.
Yeah, and it kind of goes full circle to what we were even talking about, earlier, where all the skills you're learning from fitness, and so that would be another reason like fitness is the foundation because it's the building blocks of
Right.
successful life, family relationships, whatever it is. And it's interesting 'cause it took me a long time to figure that out in this last transformation to realize what's actually important. And it's actually easy because it's not as much as I was thinking before. And I'm still super active. I do stuff all the time. But one thing I always do is get my workout in, always get my, fitness. I now prioritize that. And I mean, the positive, we were talking about how people view you, but also like your confidence and stuff is going to be booming and your positive outlook on others. Like I've had so many people reach out to me just asking for tips, tricks, like looking up to me, very inspirational. And that's awesome. That's a great thing that we want to be able to do and spread that good news stories and all that other stuff. So yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah. But anything like lately that's been really I guess, specifically with your training that's been like positive for your life right now, or anything you've been working towards that has really clicked, or maybe not clicking, that is not.
I'm trying to think of I think this is what is positively impacting me the most right now with my training is just, and this is with having a fitness goal in general,
Hmm.
is I find personally that I really benefit from having a goal to aim towards. So for
Hmm.
me, I'm I'm thinking about just like you. I'm thinking about my next physique goal, which
Hmm.
is when I'm going to start my next contest prep and when I'm going to do my next competitions. And having something to look forward to work towards, and having something to chase
Hmm.
for me personally right now is, I think, the biggest benefit. I'm
Yeah.
really, since I've been lifting for a long time, I've got more muscle than the average person, and I'm accustomed to it now. So it's not like a
Yeah.
super fresh new feeling for me. So it's kind of my normal, and it's, I mean, it's a good feeling. I certainly can't complain about that. So that's a good thing. But I
Hmm.
think what's really positively impacting me is just having a something to chase, something to work towards. One of my favorite people to listen to is Arthur Brooks, and he'll occasionally talk about, and I hope I'm not misquoting him on this. I really hope I'm not, but I think
The fact
he's
checkers are on
mentioned,
you right now.
yeah, exactly. I think he's mentioned like human beings are goal process oriented, goal oriented,
Hmm.
and I can really feel that for myself. I like being in a challenge, and even though in the moment I don't always love it, but overall, like the discomfort of it, it's like, when you get to the end of the last few reps of a really hard set of the leg press or squats, for
Yeah.
example, you're not like, "Oh man, I'm loving this." That's often not what's going through your head, right? You're like, "Oh man, I
Yeah.
hope I don't die," or "I
Yeah.
hope I can, like, my quads don't explode."
Hmm.
Um, but it's overall the chase, like having
Yeah.
something to work towards and seeing little bits of progress, that really, really helps me. It keeps me always at least a little bit excited about what's ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, what do you find the same thing, or what do you feel is impacting you the most personally with your fitness and your goals at the present?
Yeah. I think similar. I mean, I'm definitely goal oriented. But I have like all these little mini goals within my goals, which it helps, but it also sometimes like distracts me of like the what is the goal. But I think the biggest thing is I have just figured out like getting a workout in, and right now I was joking with the Marines, like, I'm doing these hit style workouts with them 3 days a week. It's like CrossFit ish. And it's kind of getting in the way of my training, right? Like we had a discussion today at work about it where, you know, the different workouts sometimes it gets in the way, but I just love it. Getting out there, PTing with them, like being active, social, leading with them. I think I'm seeing like the fitness shape that I'm in right now. Like if I wasn't in this shape and they showed up, I would not be able to do these things, right? Like, so I'm seeing, like, we're talking about delayed gratification. I am seeing the result of 2.5 years of hard work today. Like, I'm getting the benefits of that. But if you would have rewinded 2.5 years ago and put me in this spot, I would have been embarrassed, nervous, didn't want to go out there, wouldn't have been able to be a role model to them. And now they're just looking up to me. And so I'm feeling all these positive energy because of the work I started 2.5 years ago. But I didn't even know I was going to be here. I didn't know. So it's like, it's interesting to see that. So I think that is like the biggest thing. Like every day someone says something about my physical fitness, and we kind of make jokes at each other, and it's just good poking fun, and it's just a great atmosphere. I think for the goals thing, I'm just kind of treading water right now because I'm just trying to get as strong as I can, and I'm trying to work on my 5K time, but my marathon prep starts July 1st. I'm just enjoying life, and but I think once like that date starts, it's going to be locked in. 6 days a week running, no excuses. Right after that, the bodybuilding prep, 6 days a week, like lifting. So it's just going to be, I'm kind of enjoying the little break right now, but also, my post show thoughts are always in my head right now. But the biggest thing, the closest alligator to the boat, my mental, is I'm doing a PR day tomorrow. If I can't squat more than I can bench or deadlift, then I'm worried. So my mental state tomorrow will be depending how I do. But it'll be a good day regardless. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's cool how, like, I can just imagine, like, for you, the contrast between, like, the feeling that you have now, like you mentioned, like, everything that you're capable of doing, like, working with your guys,
Hmm.
compared to where you would be if this was the version of you 2.5 years ago trying to do the same thing.
Hmm.
Like, that's pretty cool. How much
Yeah.
contrast there is, because it's like a night and day difference.
Hmm.
Um, so that's really cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like I didn't really think about it until we're talking about it. It's crazy. It's eye opening. Um, and
Do you find that it's like do you find that it almost makes it better because there's so much contrast? It's like,
mhm.
you know what it feels like being on the other side of it, that it almost makes, like, being strong and lean and muscular, like, it almost makes it better?
100%. I think it kind of goes back to what we're talking about, like going through hard things. And that's why I think it's very interesting because you've been in shape for a really long time. You've been slowly building muscle over the years. So you learned that early and you've just been grinding and getting better. I feel like I was in decent shape, got out of shape, and then had to like re-earn that. And I think that was just another like stepping stone for me to learn, like going through hard things, stuff like that. I think of the same thing with work stuff all the time. Like if people have, been let go or fired before or whatever bad situation, someone house like, that gets foreclosed, whatever it is, when you come out on the other side of that, you're stronger and better for it. And you appreciate it more. You're able to provide more wisdom and guidance to others. Experience is an important aspect of things. Probably same thing with starting your business, right? Like if all the stumbles and steps you've made a mistake, you're able to learn from those and grow from it, and it just makes you better. Um, so yeah, I definitely do think it's good from the transition that I had.
That's another really good point, is those kind of challenges, like the difficult paths that you choose to take.
Mhm.
And I think this is one of, also alludes to like the fitness is the fundamental, or what was the
Foundation.
saying?
I like
Foundation.
fundamental too, though.
Yeah.
Fundamental fitness.
Fitness is fundamental. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, being on that path, a difficult path, and overcoming the challenges of, like, especially for you, getting in shape, and like, or like not just in shape, but like going and winning some gold medals. Um, it didn't just leave you with a better physique, a way better
Mhm.
physique. It it changes you as a person too. Like, those are the,
Yeah.
I think, some of the skill sets that you're talking about. Like, it develops your discipline, work ethic, ability
Mhm.
to like grind, work
Yeah.
towards things, overcome challenges. I think it helps to develop thicker skin to some
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, I'm sure you've seen it with a lot of your clients. I've seen it with my friend that I could be going to the gym with. Um, you can see when someone embraces it and they go all in with it, you can see not just their physique or their strength get better, their life gets better. At least that's been my experience. Like, even if they're going through a hard time, whatever, maybe financially, whatever else, but like overall, I think I see people's life get better, their maturity, their work ethic, just everything starts coming together more. Um, like I seriously think this last year, my life has not been better. Like has never been as good as it is, right? Like it's been like the best year. In just all aspects, not just my fitness, just everything. And maybe not objectively, like there's probably been better years I've done like financially or better with friends or whatever it is. But how I feel about it is better, and I'm more confident, and I'm more content and confident with my lifestyle and where I'm at, and all that other stuff. And that just has huge impacts.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel
yeah.
like it gives you, like, you have just more peace of mind?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Like I was saying, like it all boils down to less things. Everyone's stressing out right now at my job. Like there's some craziness going on, and I'm just like, it's all good. Like, do we get a gym? Do we get to go to the gym today? Like, do we all got jobs? Like, what's up? Like, why are we stressing? Um, so I do think it kind of just keeps me um, the eye on the prize. Like talking about goal oriented, that was the thing I really noticed with. I think overall fitness is really important, and so if someone just wants to walk, get their steps in, do a couple of like push-ups and body weight stuff. Like I think that's awesome and great. And that's what most people should probably start with and strive for, just being more active. But like what I really realized when I put my mind to something and focused on it, um, what you can accomplish like with those goals is crazy. It's like awesome what the human body can do. And I think learning that skill set of a goal oriented is the same for, like we're talking about the foundation. I can apply that to a job. You can apply that to your business. You can apply that to a savings account. Like I'm going to save $5 every month. Like I'm going to use that consistency and put it away or whatever it is. I think I, that's the skill I learned by competing specifically in the marathon, the bodybuilding show. Like doing those things specifically goal oriented and then going all in with it with a specific plan, um, shows that works, and that can work for anything. That can work for your job, that can work for relationships, that can work for finances. Just learning that skill, but you also have the secondary benefit of the health benefit. So it's like, why would you not start with fitness?
Yeah,
um,
there's layers to it. There's
yeah.
lots of layers.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's good. So no, it was good stuff, Sam. I thought that was awesome. I'm hoping that my uh, muscle building will positively impact me tomorrow when I hit 1,000 pound club. That's the goal. It's embarrassing
tomorrow's
that I can't.
tomorrow's the day.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll put some. Well, it's funny because afterwards the guys came up after I made that comment about how I might be in a bad mood if I don't get it. they all came up and they're like, "What's your lifts? What's your lifts?" And they're like, "What's your goal?" I was like, "To hit 1,000 pounds." He's like, "Yeah, we know, but like individually for the different ones." And after I said what my bench is right now, I was like, I hit 315 before. They're like, "Why can't you hit 1,000 pounds?" And I'm like, it's embarrassing. I know that I can't squat or deadlift to save my life.
Well, you know what? That actually that makes me think of something, which is so like you going in trying to hit the 1,000 pounds tomorrow,
Mhm.
and like you might fail. Like you're like
Yep.
we're laughing about it now, but it might happen, right? But you're
Mhm.
gonna go and try anyways. And I think this is another part of the skill set that you develop when you go to the gym. Is it's like it's a proving ground for like a testing ground to get to go and like fail at stuff, and you
Yeah.
get to learn how to fail at stuff. And I think that's pretty helpful. The
Yep.
only way to learn is to test, well, not the only way, but one of the best ways to learn is to like actually test your limits. And one of
Yeah.
the only ways to figure out what your limits actually are to see how hard you can actually push yourself is when you actually get to the point of going past your limits. So like, yeah, it could be the
Yeah.
case you go for the 405 deadlift or whatever it's going to be, and like maybe it doesn't happen and you fail. Um but I mean, that's actually, I mean, it sucks when it happens. There's no
Yeah.
sugarcoating it, you know? You curse immediately afterwards, and you
Yeah.
feel like crap about it for the next 15 minutes, maybe for the rest of the day, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's like you're practicing how to push your limits, and
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, that's a skill set. I think that's
Yep.
one of the best ways to learn is to actually fail so you can figure out what your limits are, so
Yeah.
how
Well,
you can get better the next
yeah.
time.
I think we've talked about that in the past when I was doing on squats, and the first time I have to bailing on the squat and stuff like that, and oh, it's okay. You know, like now you know it's like you're not dying. There's those safety bars for a reason. Um, I think that that's super important. I also love the gym. We'll have to talk about this in the future, but like the gym seems like very intimidating atmosphere. It is not. Like if you're trying a good weight and you fail, like people will support you. They'll attaboys, like great work. They'll give you technique advice if you want it, like everything. I'm a big fan of accountability partners. So I texted my friend I go with, and it's so funny because I remember 6 months ago I told you I hate going to the gym with people, and now I love going to the gym with him. You know what I mean? But I'm also very social. I love it, but like I love seeing his progress. So I texted him today, and I'm like, "Yo, we're doing PR day tomorrow." And so now we both know. Now we're both amped. And I told the whole class, so if I do fail, I think this is another point about it. I have to overcome that. I have to then tell everyone that I failed because I told them all I'm going to do it. I'm a big fan of like publicly putting my goals out there, owning your failures and your wins, and people will respect you more for it too. Like when you only present your wins, you become like not this is gonna sound bad, not like a godlike, but you become like this figure that they can't relate to. People want to be someone that they can relate to. So when you fail and then they see you do it again and win, they see you put the grind in. So I can't wait. No matter what I get, I'm recording all of the lifts. I'm gonna show them all. They're gonna tell me exactly why my technique was bad or why I got that lift up. Like they're gonna just dog on me. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be good. So I'm gonna be excited tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll just let everyone know how it is next week. I'll see if we got
I'm
it.
I'm looking forward to seeing the posts.
Yes.